Imagine this. You're a 61-year-old retired Denver homicide detective. You taught your son how to fish, how to tie knots, how to be a man. And one Saturday morning, he walks into your garage, slips something wrapped in black tissue paper into your fishing tackle box, and casually walks away, thinking you didn't notice. But 30 years on the force taught you to read micro-expressions better than most people read books. And when you open that tackle box later, what you find isn't just drugs. It's 2 ounces of pure fentanyl, enough to put you in federal prison until you die. Your own son just tried to frame you for fentanyl trafficking so he could inherit your house and pay off his drug dealers. This is the true story of how an addict son planted fentanyl to frame his retired cop father, and how that father turned the tables with the coldest, most brilliant, tough love revenge you will ever hear. If you're new here, hit subscribe and the bell. We tell real-life betrayal, redemption, and survival stories every week. And drop a comment right now. What would you do if your own child tried to send you to prison for life? Let's dive in. My name is Frank Miller, 61 years old. Retired Denver PD detective, 30 years on the job, 22 of those in narcotics and homicide. I live in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Beautiful suburb south of Denver. My wife Sarah passed from cancer 3 years ago. Since then, my Saturday fishing trips to Cherry Creek Reservoir have been my only peace. That morning, October 12th, the sun was just coming through the garage windows. I had my old green tackle box open on the workbench, sorting lures, checking line, doing the little rituals that keep an old cop sane. That's when Ethan walked in. 27 years old, my only child. He'd been living with me since Sarah died. Unemployment, mood swings, weight loss. I told myself it was grief. But the second he stepped into the garage, every hair on my neck stood up, shoulders too high, smile too wide, eyes darting to my tackle box, then away, then back again. Classic deception cluster. I'd seen it on 1,000 suspects. "Morning, Dad," he said, voice syrupy sweet. "Heading to Cherry Creek? Yeah, should be good bite today. Mind if I look at your setup? Been a while since we fished together." Before I could answer, he was already kneeling by the box. I kept sorting line, watching him in my peripheral vision like I was still on a stakeout. His breathing went shallow. A bead of sweat rolled down his temple, even though it was 55 degrees. Then, lightning fast, his right hand came out of his jacket pocket, holding something small wrapped in black tissue paper. One practiced motion. He buried it deep in the main compartment, underneath my silver spoon lures and lead weights. 10 seconds. 10 seconds was all it took for my own son to plant evidence that could lock me away forever. He stood up, wiped his hands on his jeans like he was wiping off prints, and said, "Catch some big ones, Dad," before disappearing into the house. I stood there staring at that tackle box like it had become radioactive. Let me take you back 12 hours. Friday night, I'm grilling chicken in the backyard. Ethan sets the table inside. For one brief moment, it almost felt normal, until I remembered Sarah's empty chair. Dinner was quiet. Ethan pushed food around his plate, hands shaking, eyes red. Finally, he whispered, "Dad, I need to talk." I knew that tone. Same one he used at 15 when he wrecked the car. "I'm in trouble. Serious trouble. I need $50,000. $50,000. I set my fork down slow. "Ethan, that's literally everything I have left after helping you the last 3 years. What kind of trouble?" His jaw clenched. Something dark flashed across his face. Anger, desperation, maybe both. "Does it even matter? I'm your son. Of course it matters. I've paid your rent, your car, your groceries, your emergencies for months. Where is the money going?" He exploded. "You don't get it. These people aren't patient. They will kill me." He stormed upstairs, slammed his door. I heard muffled, panicked phone calls until 2 a.m. At the time, I thought he was just scared. Now, I know he was negotiating how many extra days he had to live. Back in the garage, I couldn't put it off any longer. Hands shaking, I opened the tackle box. There it was, black tissue paper. Inside, a clear plastic baggie with 2 ounces of off-white powder. I didn't need a field test kit. 30 years in narcotics, I knew fentanyl when I saw it. Street value $15 to $20,000. Federal mandatory minimum, decades. My knees buckled. I sat on the workbench. My own son just tried to frame me for fentanyl trafficking, and then the bigger picture slammed into me like a freight train. If the police found this in my possession, I'm a retired cop with a spotless record, they'd still bury me. At 61, that's a death sentence. Ethan would inherit the house, the accounts, everything Sarah and I spent our lives building, and he'd use it to pay the animals he owed. He wasn't just an addict, he was willing to murder his father without pulling a trigger. I walked upstairs like a ghost and stood outside his bedroom door. Through the wood, I heard everything. First call, Marco, I swear, just one more week. My dad's being difficult, but I have a plan. By tomorrow night, you'll have the full 50 grand. Second call, Alina, don't start foreclosure yet. Once he's arrested, I'll have access to everything. Loan paid in full. My blood froze. Ethan had forged my signature and put my house up as collateral with a loan shark named Alina Vasquez for $80,000. He blew it at Prairie Wind Casino. When that ran out, he bought fentanyl on credit from a cartel-connected dealer named Marco Santos. Now both were coming to collect, and Ethan decided the cleanest solution was to send his own father to prison for life. 30 years as a detective taught me one golden rule: never let the suspect control the chessboard. I waited until Ethan left for his fake job interview. Then I tore his room apart like it was a crime scene. What I found: bank statements showing $30,000 plus in casino cash advances, Prairie Wind betting slips totaling six-figure losses, a loan agreement for $80,000 with my forged signature, a scrap of paper labeled Marco, emergency only, texts begging for just one more day. The timeline was crystal clear. Gambling gives forgery, gives fentanyl on credit, gives frame dad when dad says no. I photographed everything. Then I went back to the garage, took the fentanyl baggie, and walked straight to Ethan's 10-year-old Honda Civic I helped him buy. Keys were on the hook where he always left them. Trunk popped open. I moved his old gym bag, placed the fentanyl deep in the wheel well, closed the trunk. Then I wiped every surface in my tackle box until it sparkled. Reorganized the lures exactly how I always do. Trap reset. Hunter becomes the hunted. Ethan came home at 6 p.m. practically bouncing. Interview went great. Dad. Should hear back Monday. Translation: the fentanyl is still in your tackle box, old man. 20 minutes later, I heard him upstairs, voice dripping with fake concern. 911. I need to report fentanyl trafficking. My father, retired Denver detective Frank Miller, is hiding 2 ounces in his fishing tackle box. Yes, I'll stay on the line. Then to Marco, it's done. Cops are coming for dad. You'll have your money tomorrow. Then to Alina, once he's arrested, I'll liquidate everything. Loan paid. He hung up, smiling like he'd just won the lottery. 15 minutes later, my driveway looked like a SWAT movie. 3 marked units, 2 unmarked, D-tactical truck. My old partner, Detective Sarah Rodriguez, was lead investigator. Ethan ran downstairs in Oscar-worthy panic. Dad, there's police everywhere. What's going on? I stood up, calm. I'll get the door, son. Sarah's face on my porch was pure regret. Frank, we have a warrant. Anonymous tip about fentanyl in your tackle box. Ethan jumped in, voice trembling with fake fear. The tackle box is in the garage. I'll show you exactly where. He practically ran to the garage, leading the D agent like a tour guide. Agent opened every tray, removed every lure, photographed every compartment. Nothing. Ethan went ghost white. That's impossible. I saw him put something wrapped in black tissue paper in there this morning. Sarah turned slowly. You seem awfully certain about the contents of your father's tackle box, Ethan. Why don't we check your vehicle? His legs almost gave out. They popped the Honda trunk. Moved the gym bag. There it was, 2 ounces of fentanyl in the exact black tissue paper. Sarah's voice went ice cold. Ethan Miller, you're under arrest for possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance, filing a false police report, and conspiracy to frame a family member. He screamed the whole way to the car. He set me up. My dad did this. Sarah just looked at him and said, "Funny. You're the one who called us to search HIS tackle box, not yours." Instant karma, Denver County Courthouse. Ethan in an orange jumpsuit, looking 10 years older. Federal prosecutor laid it out like a crime documentary. 2 ounces fentanyl. Recorded phone calls to dealer and loan shark. Forged loan documents. Orchestrated attempt to frame his own father. Defense tried the addiction made me do it card. Judge wasn't having it. 5 years federal prison, no parole, minimum 3 years inside. The forged $80,000 loan, declared fraudulent the second the handwriting experts saw it. House never in danger. Loan shark Alina Vasquez fled the state. Marco Santos arrested in Phoenix 6 weeks later, facing 22 life. 6 months later, I sold the Highlands Ranch house. Too many ghosts. Too many memories of a son who no longer existed. Bought a small apartment in Boulder with cash. Mountain views, clear alpine lakes. My tackle box sits in the corner, clean, organized, and 100% drug-free. Ethan has written me twice from FCI Englewood. Both letters remain unopened on the counter. Some bridges you don't rebuild, you let them burn. Detective Rodriguez still checks in. She asked me once, "Do you ever regret how it ended?" I told her the truth. I regret I didn't see the addiction sooner. But I will never regret protecting myself from someone who chose fentanyl over family. Here's what this story really teaches us. Love without boundaries becomes enablement. Enablement destroys both the giver and the receiver. Sometimes the greatest threat to your life is the person sleeping under your roof. And sometimes the ultimate act of tough love is refusing to let your child drag you into the grave with them. Never underestimate an old cop, especially when the criminal trying to take him down is his own son.